at a certain stage in life, you just हवा के साथ साथ घटा के संग संग वो साथी चल. Whatever happens in life, you go along with it. I don't know what tomorrow brings. I really don't. For the first time in my life, last month I completed 36 years in this profession. I have taken a bit of a break only because I just want to take a deep breath. Because being in TV news is like on a moving train. और वो engine driver brake ही नहीं लगा रहा है. Woman, no election by the way can be won unless you have the woman vote in India. You go through all the elections of the last 10 years. The winning party will always have majority woman vote. Mamata Banerjee wins because of that. Nitish Kumar wins because of that. More likely to vote. In India, it's the opposite. The poorer you are, the more likely you are to vote.
It's a wonderful book. I've started reading it.
I'm going to put it before your camera so they know how it looks.
Yes, absolutely.
I do all this. I'm learning this from Mr. Modi and all the marketeers. They know how to sell a product.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about great marketing these days.
Free press is part of Mumbai's history. And as a young person, I've grown up on newspapers. I'm a newspaper man, so at heart, that's where my heart is. If you ask me ever where my heart is, it was in the newspaper.
Journalism and media in India have changed drastically over the past couple of decades. With the advent of social media platforms, a lot of the true journalistic values seem to have gotten eroded. A lot of ground reporting has been replaced by podcasters and YouTubers expressing polarizing views from their studios. Voicing an anti-government view also has its consequences now. But in these changing times, it's great that we have a few surviving stalwarts in the industry who forge on, maintaining traditional journalistic values, reporting from the ground, and asking difficult questions. Very pleased to have one such star journalist with us at Free Press Journal today to talk about his newly released book on the Indian elections, Rajdeep Sardesai.
Thank you very much, Anushka, for having me here at the Free Press. What a lovely office you have.
Yes, it is. We're lucky in the heart of Mumbai.
I look at this office and it brings back all my nostalgia, and I keep telling people if there's one job I still want in journalism, it's the editorship of a Mumbai newspaper.
Really?
Yeah. That's the only thing that would, I think, keep me going now, because I started off in a newspaper here in 1988 in the Times of India in Mumbai, and I had very happy years. There were exciting times in Mumbai. Difficult times with what happened in 91, 92, 93.
Yes.
But still, Mumbai is part of me. I'm a Mumbaikar in exile in Delhi.
All right. Well, there may be an opening here. Who knows?
Who knows? Yes. If this is the view, anytime.
Sure. We'll keep that in mind. Send us your CV. But
I might do that.
Congratulations on your new book. It completes a trilogy, right? 2024, the election that surprised India, and boy, it really did surprise India. And I've seen in your other interviews, and you've written in your book, that you were initially going to title it Hat Trick. So you also swept up in this Modi wave.
That's right, Anushka. In fact, I had two titles in mind. I mentioned one in the book. One was Hat Trick, because Mr. Modi would be completing a hat trick, which was unique. And he has completed a hat trick, but it's not the kind of hat trick where, you're celebrating, because a hat trick is a moment of great celebration. And while Mr. Modi may have completed 3 terms, and that's in itself an enormous achievement, it's not quite that euphoric moment that one expected it to be. And number 2, the other word I had thought was conquest. I look at the way Mr. Modi and Amit Shah have taken over Indian politics in the last decade, state by state, almost like an Ashwamedh Yagna. You go to states where the BJP had no presence. Look at the Northeast, Manipur. BJP was hardly there. Arunachal Pradesh.
Yeah.
These are states where there was no real BJP presence. Even Haryana. First time BJP won Haryana was only 2014. Then they repeated it 2019, and now have won again in 24, which is quite incredible.
Yeah.
I write about the election that surprised India in 2024. Honestly, if there's one election result that really surprised me, it's Haryana.
Yeah.
I have traveled through elections over the years. I haven't seen such strong anti-incumbency against the government. Nobody I met, or very few I met, wanted the BJP to come back, and yet the BJP won.
Now how?
No, I think they managed the election very well. They ensured that where the Congress was strong, they put up so many independent candidates. They worked among Dalit communities. In the last few months, made a real effort to explain some of the government schemes. We got carried away again, like in the general elections with the Modi Hawa. Here we got carried away with the Jat Hawa.
Right.
You know, we thought that Huda ji and the Jats are, will get their moment back. Not forgetting that Dalits are a large population in Haryana, and within Dalits there are different groups, and some groups chose to stay with the BJP as they had in past elections. OBCs are a big community, and urban Haryana is different to rural Haryana, and in urban pockets the Congress still doesn't have a real story. So, elections in India are now as much about Maahaul as much about management as Maahaul.
Right.
The Maahaul in Haryana was with the Congress. The
Really?
management was with the BJP.
So they really micromanage.
Absolutely.
Putting up independents, sometimes with the same similar symbol, same name. They do that in Maharashtra
Absolutely. There was R.R. Patil's son, Rohit Patil. In his constituency, there were 4 Rohit Patils who looked like Rohit Patil also.
My God.
I mean, I'm traveling through his constituency. I'm seeing they seem to have the same specs, but symbol badla hai. And, and this is not new. In my previous book, I had mentioned how Mr. Amit Shah had learned this many years ago in Gujarat. अगर कोई वाघेला है तो और वाघेला लगा कि ना surname से लगा दो, symbol confuse कर दो. But look, those are all small factors. They do reflect the micro planning that you spoke about. But I think it also reflects a certain hunger and ambition to win at all costs.
Yeah.
Now that has a positive side and that has a negative side. The positive side means that you get to win states, you have a machine in place. The negative side is that it is ruthless and it is use and throw politics.
Yeah.
And we are seeing it in Maharashtra. I mean, before the election, it was all about Eknath Shinde and he was the face. Come election, the results and the BJP getting the kind of numbers they have, do you really need Eknath Shinde anymore? So the BJP, and I, in my book I mentioned Chirag Paswan, same thing happened. In fact, Chirag Paswan was use, throw and use. They used him, threw him away. Actually, his luggage was out on the street. He had to leave his house overnight and then brought back, and he and Modi ji hugging each other, and he said, I am Modi ji's Hanuman. I mean, so in politics, they've shown how they are masters at one level of realpolitik. At another level, it reflects a certain ruthless edge that is almost amoral or immoral. So, you can't have, depending on which side of the divide you are, and I've tried to reflect both in the book, you will judge them.
Yeah, ruthless, definitely immense money power, of course, micromanaging. You have said that the amount of resources available, it does undermine the whole electoral process, right?
I think, Anushka, that's, to me as an Indian, as a citizen, forget about being a journalist. What troubles me most, and it's not just about BJP at the moment, but it's across India, is the use of money power at election time. It is completely distorting the idea of a level playing field. If you have 100x of the other side in terms of money to spend, plus state power, agencies are with you, then how is it a free and fair election? I mean, the basis of free and fair election is not just the voter will go to the polling booth and will cast his or her vote on polling day. That is not free and fair election in itself. The election commission says, oh, free and fair election passed off peacefully. What has the election commission in this country done to stop money power? And Maharashtra is a good example. I know old sarpanches from my reporting day in the 1990s. Sahib, आम्ही एवढे पैसे कधी बघितलेच नाहीयेत. Money was being thrown at people, and I'm not just talking about schemes like Ladki Bahin or what you were doing with other government schemes, but just in the amount of cash that was available. 7 years after demonetization, cash is back in, like you've never seen before. And people candidates had huge access to money. And when I speak of money, it's also not just cash. You ensure that government funds are given primarily to those from your party. So in Mumbai, if I want to develop my constituency, I get monies only if I'm a ruling party MLA. What happens? I mean, Mumbai belongs to all, not ruling or opposition. When you're chief minister, when you're heading a ministry, you're supposed to give funds to every MLA of Mumbai. You can't only give 500 crores for constituency development dedicated to only your ruling party MLA. So that's again money power. Money power, to my mind, has distorted elections. I thought it used to happen in South India. I used to be told only Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Andhra, people are spending 80, 90 crores for even a legislature. It's happened this time in Maharashtra. Maharashtra has seen more money than ever before in the elections of this state. And then that distorts, according to me, an electoral field, and at some stage will affect the state's finances, because some of the money has been taken out of the state's finances.
Yeah.
And also means that you don't spend enough on where real development is required. I mean, my travels through Maharashtra have taught me one thing. I mean, it's a wake-up call again, many years after I originally got a wake-up call on Maharashtra. There's a Mumbai beyond Mumbai, Nashik, Pune. And that Mumbai, some parts are almost as bad as the so-called Bimaru states of the north. You go to a Yavatmal, there's only one private factory making jeans of Raymonds. That's it. If I'm a young person in Yavatmal, I have no employment opportunities. If I'm in Bid, nothing at all. And I went to Bid 30 years ago as a young journalist. I went there today. Nothing really has changed dramatically. So all the agriculture labor that goes on the sugar cane fields of Western Maharashtra all goes from Bid. Now how are you tempting them to vote for you? Are 1500 rupees le lo.
Yeah.
That's not going to solve your long-term problem. There are structural issues in a state like Maharashtra. Maharashtra, look at economic indices. You don't throw at me 52% of FDI has come to Maharashtra. But look at on other parameters. Maharashtra is a state which has gone into decline in the last 10-15 years. Not just from 2014, but over the last 10-20 years, in serious sectors of the economy, Maharashtra, which is the industrial hub, largely because of legacy, has taken a bit of a hit. And I think, the Bloomberg report says we are number 6, I think, when it comes to certain aspects of our economy, where we were number 1 about 10 years ago. So Maharashtra needs, I hope that this election verdict, which is such a resounding mandate, gives the BJP-led alliance an opportunity in the next 5 years to rebuild Maharashtra. Maharashtra needs to be rebuilt.
Definitely. Like you said, cash is back, right? And a lot of these schemes, they say they're schemes, but essentially you're just, in other ways, you're bribing people to vote for you. I mean, bribing may be a harsh word to use, but, it is using your money power for votes.
And Anushka, it's not just Maharashtra, it's happening across the country. I mean, every state government now has got a formula. Chunav ke pehle paise de do, koi scheme chala do, suddenly election aa rahe. And you use that scheme almost to provide people, cash in hand. It doesn't always work. Jagan Mohan Reddy tried the same in Andhra Pradesh, didn't work. So I'm not saying it's a foolproof formula, but it is certainly, what the Prime Minister said, what he calls Revdi. Now you can't be Revdi in one state and we are doing welfareism in the other. So when you do it, it becomes welfareism. When the other person does it, it becomes Revdi.
Yeah.
And it's now spreading. It's free electricity. You want to give people all kinds of sops that are designed, I believe, you use the word bribe, but certainly to get people to vote for you.
Yeah. We definitely need real development with this resounding mandate. Let's see what happens, because it's very skewed, as you said, in Maharashtra. But I have one question before we throw it open to the rest of the editorial team here, is that, you wrote this book, The Election That Surprised India, right? And BJP fell to less than 272 in Lok Sabha, and we know that. And it shocked everybody. They had got 240 seats on their own. They needed their NDA partners. Now Maharashtra, it's a tsunami. They're back with a thumping majority. During the elections, I was watching a lot of interviews with Mahayuti leaders, your interviews. I conducted a couple of interviews, and they had one standard statement when they were asked about their poor performance in Lok Sabha, especially in Maharashtra, where they got, I think, 17 out of 48 seats, right? A huge drop. One standard statement which someone must have crafted is that, we were victims of a false narrative. कि संविधान बदलेंगे, संविधान में संशोधन लाएंगे, लोकतंत्र खतरे में है, and so they played this whole victim card. We were victims of this false narrative. But how come as journalists we didn't ask that, if you knew it was a false narrative, why didn't you counter it? It's your government at Paar, the center, in the state. You have all the money power in the world. So to me, that's not a reason for doing so badly that, poor us, there was this false narrative. They should have countered it.
Let's be honest. The opposition pushed a fake narrative of sorts by saying Samvidhan khatre mein hai. They caught on to it. Rahul Gandhi caught on to it, and BJP perhaps responded, as you rightly said, too late to it. It wasn't, I don't believe that any government today can dramatically change the constitution. It was some BJP leaders who said अगर 400 पार हो जाए तो हम संविधान में संशोधन करेंगे. Let's not forget constitution in this country has been changed more than 100 times already, but reservations I don't think can go. But in Lok Sabha, the opposition used that opportunity, like any party will, to spread a certain narrative. In Vidhan Sabha, the ruling party did it. With Ladki Bahin, essentially you are telling people, हम तो आपकी जिंदगी बदल देंगे, हम आपके साथ हैं. And the opposition, which should have countered it, spent 3 months fighting कि कौन बनेगा मुख्यमंत्री. I think the biggest problem for the opposition in Maharashtra is they got these 30 seats, especially Congress party. It made the Congress party, which is lazy, even lazier. You see, the BJP course corrected after Lok Sabha, realized, yeah, we have a fight in Maharashtra. Remember, in terms of seat, in terms of vote share, they were almost level. And even in terms of Vidhan Sabha constituencies, they were almost in the same region. So it wasn't as if one side was dramatically ahead of the other. They were, roughly, in fact, in vote share, I think the NDA was slightly ahead of the UPA, but the UPA won a lot of the close contests in Lok Sabha. And they got overconfident. You see, the worst thing in this year for any political party has proved to be overconfidence. BJP thought 400 par aayenge Lok Sabha mein, they lost the election. Bhupinder Singh Hooda and the Congress thought in Haryana, ये तो चुनाव हम जीत ही गए. Open fight with Kumari Shelja going on. नहीं कुछ नहीं, हम तो जीत रहे हैं. Lost. You can't be seen to be fighting at the top amongst yourselves so publicly and expect कि public नहीं, public won't see the messaging. Again in Maharashtra, I think for a long time, the opposition spent far too much time कि मुझे मुख्यमंत्री बनना है तुम्हें, and oversee, Sanjay Raut and Nana Patole publicly squabbling. And you didn't counter this, the Ladki Bahin scheme. You first said, no, we will, some people said that exchequer will be, the exchequer will be drained out. But then you in your manifesto say, hum to 3,000 rupees denge.
Yeah.
By then it is too late. I think in politics you have to be far more nimble. It's all in real time. ये WhatsApp, ये mobile से जरिए जो messaging जाती है, you have to counter it immediately. So संविधान खतरे में है. You're right. The government failed to counter. And in the Vidhan Sabha, the opposition failed to counter the government's narrative. So politics has become so competitive that you can't, एक rally कर दी, हाथ, waving at people. That used to be there, happened 30 years ago. अब तो वो हो ही नहीं सकता है. Today you can fight elections. I'm not saying win them, but certainly fight elections using social media, using other ways of communication. You just don't need a rally. चुनाव बदल गए हैं. The way elections are, that's what I've tried to reflect through the book. Yeah. That you now have to fight elections very differently to the way you fought 30 years ago. This is an India which is hyper connected. Everybody, the moment I put up a WhatsApp, I can spread it to billions of people in the space of a couple of minutes. You won't know what has hit you. And therefore, Samvidhan worked for the opposition in Lok Sabha. I'm not going to call it a fake narrative, but it was a narrative. Whether it's fake or not, would be maybe, I won't go into that. Similarly, but here also, there was a narrative. You have to have a narrative. Public must know मैं तुमको vote क्यों दूँ. I remember meeting women in Maharashtra. They said 1,500 तो आ गया हमारे पास. I said like opposition 3,000 promise कर रही है. अरे सर वो तो बाद में, अभी तो आ गया ना. People bird in hand is word two in the bush.
Yeah. First mover advantage.
Yes, absolutely.
Any questions?
So I'm Prathamesh. I work with the online team here. So as you said that the Samvidhan Badlenge slogan worked for the opposition in the Lok Sabha. So do you think the Batenge to Katenge slogan worked for the Mahayuti in Maharashtra Assembly elections?
See, I think there was not just Batenge to Katenge, there was also the Prime Minister's Ek hai to safe hai. It may have worked. I mean, I saw certainly resonance, for example, in more urban pockets of Maharashtra. And Maharashtra is more urbanized. So large parts are now like Ahmednagar. You go to a Nanded city. In cities or small towns, Batenge to rural Maharashtra, I don't think was about Batenge to Katenge, Ek hai to safe hai. Rural Maharashtra has gone through agrarian distress. That money that was paid did make a huge difference. Plus BJP and RSS played a major role. 60,000 meetings of the RSS were held across Maharashtra in the last 3 months, targeting specific communities, OBC groups, Dalit groups. You see, it is not one Batenge to Katenge. It may have made a difference to some groups. But it didn't make a difference across Maharashtra. Across Maharashtra, there were a variety of issues. Ladki Bahin, RSS's work, batenge to katenge, opposition fighting with each other, all of which came together at election time. So it's not just one reason. But I think the government got its Maharashtra strategy right, and the opposition got its Maharashtra strategy badly wrong.
So connecting to that same question, now that you've mentioned that RSS has worked a lot for BJP's victory, so there were reports earlier that some BJP people said that we don't need RSS anymore. So do you think that this elections has proved that RSS needs to be with BJP in order to gain victory?
Excellent question. Absolutely right. It does. In fact, in my book, I mentioned an RSS leader saying कि हरियाणा और गुजरात में भी जैसे लोकसभा बीजेपी का परफॉर्मेंस जो जितना हुआ हमारी वजह से हुआ या मध्य प्रदेश एंड गुजरात वी आर द वंस हु आर देयर विद द बीजेपी वी आर परफेक्ट ट्यूनिंग दैट्स व्हाई वी डू सो वेल in Maharashtra clearly that didn't happen during the Lok Sabha. Part of the problem was Ajit Pawar. A lot of the RSS karyakartas felt let down by the fact that someone whom you have called corrupt you are now aligning with, you're giving him tickets. That tuning was not there. And it's important. You see, RSS is a huge benefit that the BJP has on its side because it has that this micro planning. You need a machine at the micro level. The RSS in many parts of Maharashtra, indeed India, does work at the ground level. And therefore, that does give the BJP an advantage in a closely contested election. No doubt about it. RSS की ज़रूरत है उनको और अगले साल RSS के 100 साल है. One reason why for RSS winning Maharashtra was so important.
Hi, I'm Manas Joshi. I work with digital team. You mentioned Ajit Pawar. I was going to ask question about him only. During Lok Sabha and in the immediate aftermath, he did not cut a very flattering figure, to be frank, because of whatever happened to his faction of the party. Do you think, perception-wise, Ajit Pawar is back? What worked for him, Ladki Behna or other factors? And what will be Senior Pawar's next move?
You know, Ajit Pawar also is jo jeeta wo Sikandar. I think for him, Lok Sabha was never a priority. You know, he only contested, I think, 4 or 5 Lok Sabha seats, won 4 seats. In Vidhan Sabha, he has very strong local candidates. Remember, he took the party away with him. 40 MLAs went away, most of whom can win on their own. They don't need Sharad Pawar or Ajit Pawar. They can even win on their own strength in the constituency. They all are very resourceful MLAs. That made a huge difference as well. And I think, like everyone else, they all benefited from this Ladki Bahin. You know, a woman, when she's voting in Ajit Pawar's constituency or in Eknath Shinde's constituency or Devendra Fadnavis, is a woman, not a BJP voter, Shiv Sena voter or NCP voter. So I think he got a lot of benefit from the fact that Ladki Bahin was a game changer. He got a lot of benefit from the fact that he had stronger local candidates and therefore a better organization on the ground for a Vidhan Sabha election. What the future holds for him, I don't know. One thing that is emerging in Maharashtra is a gap in the opposition space. There will have to be a strong opposition leader in the next 5-10 years. Will Ajit Pawar one day decide, will there be a grand reunion of the Pawars? I don't know. Could be. And that leads me to your last thing. What happens to Senior Pawar? See, Senior Pawar now faces at 84 a very difficult situation. Holding on to the party, holding on. He's lost the party symbol, lost the party. Can he hold on to the few that are left with him? I don't. It's going to be very tough for him now, for Sharad Pawar. You know, he's been in, and you know, let's give him credit. He's been in politics for 50 years and remained relevant for 50 years in some form or the other. Even with few MPs, he was relevant in Delhi. Now it's going to be tough to keep his party together. But I don't rule out at some stage in the future a Pawar family reunion. There are far too many links that they have with each other, and maybe they will exploit this opposition space that will come up in Maharashtra. So BJP will want to have Ekla Chalore in Maharashtra at some stage. Abhi ke liye they are necessities. But there may come a time when they want to go on their own.
Interesting. Actually, I had a question about the role of the media, and you've written a chapter in your book, right, on corporate takeover of media. And now this binary is very strong, right? There's very few centrist people left. It's like either your Godi media or your Darbari media. And what do you feel about that? Because you've been a journalist for like 3 decades now. I mean, what do you feel about this change and this sharp divide? Also, how do you deal with it when you face accusations that, oh, you're a congressman, or, you know, I've seen, like, if you read comment sections, which I'm sure you probably don't have the time to, but there is a section of the population who will call Rajdeep Sardesai a Congress supporter, you know, or a Congress agent. Because interestingly, I want to bring up that I saw this YouTube video that came up a few days ago. I'm sure you haven't, I don't know if you've seen it. It was some random YouTuber who did this whole video on you, and on how you basically were creating a Maahaul during Maharashtra elections for the Mahavikas Aghadi. So all this kind of stuff comes up. But I want to know your response to all this.
You know, first of all, on that Maharashtra point, you can go through all my comments on air, in our programs, in my blogs. I have always said Mahayuti has the edge. Please go back to a program we did 2 months ago on Neta Nagri. I'm talking about early October. We are now in December. First program we did, where I challenged one of my colleagues. I said, I believe Mahayuti is ahead. Better prepared, better planning, course correction. So for anyone who says Maahaul banana hai, then why would I say that?
Yeah.
You know, that is rubbish. So that, I mean, they are welcome to see it. So it's all there in the public domain. I said Mahayuti as the edge. Of course, I didn't expect a tsunami. That's another matter. And anybody who tells me, nahi, humko malum tha pehle se tsunami, they are bluffing. We know, you know, that's something that the voter decides. But as a journalist, I'm not going to predict seats. But I said they're ahead. As far as this Congress thing goes, you know, many years ago we did a story on how Otavio Quattrochi's Bofor's accounts were defrozen. Now that was a story that comes as close to the Congress leadership as possible. When I was at CNN IBN, we had broken that story. It had become a big thing in Parliament. That time you are okay. But now when you may do a story which involves the BJP, you become a Congress supporter. BJP is in power. My job as a journalist is first to ask questions of whoever is in power.
Absolutely.
Just look at the question we asked of Manmohan Singh. Allegations of corruption against Manmohan Singh, Manmohan Singh's government, against their ministers. I mean, I cannot think of any government which faced the kind of hostile media scrutiny from people, including myself, that the Manmohan Singh government faced in those 7-8 years, particularly after 2009. So, I mean, anyone who tells you, you know, you are a Congress supporter, please go and see our reporting in those days. Now the BJP is in power. I will ask the same questions to them. In fact, we don't ask any questions. My problem is that those questions have suddenly disappeared. Are you telling me there is no corruption that takes place in this country? Are you telling me that why should the ED, if I ask why is the ED only operating in opposition ruled states and there's no ED in BJP ruled states, I am a Congress supporter? We all should be asking. It's my taxpayers' money that's going into that into those ED inquiries.
No, absolutely.
So, I mean, you know, I think what you said at the outset is the right thing. We have become so polarized, including in newsrooms. Tum Congressy ho, tum Godi media ho, tum Darbari ho. Who are we to give each other certificates?
Yeah.
You know, that to my mind is the problem. And I think, you know, I think the time has come for journalists to try to whatever extent to get out of these binaries. And simply say that my job as a journalist is to hold to account whoever is in power. That is my basic job as a journalist. If I can do that, you know, I have to in the end wrestle with my conscience. I have no, you know, I used to use a line in my big fight days, हमाम में सब नंगे हैं. ये कोई दूध से धुला हुआ नहीं है किसी भी पार्टी से. But whoever is in power will naturally face more questions than I believe than the person in the opposition. And it is the opposition job to ask the questions. And the media, whether we like it or not, in some form, will always be in the opposition, not in the opposition party's camp, but in the camp where public is asking questions as the opposition. That's how I see the media's role.
I'm Juvaraj Anshul. I work with Webdesk. My question is connected to what she had asked. As an elder and the veteran of the television journalism field, how do you see the landscape of television journalism going? And in addition, would it be wrong, or would it be right to dismiss a day when Rajdeep Sardesai will be a prominent presence in the digital media space?
Look, Rajdeep Sardesai is turning 60 in 6 months. What happens for the future, I don't know. I mean, I get excited and energized when I see new talents doing new things. You know, it's almost like when I do Neta Nagri on Lallan Top, I get a fresh sense of energy because it's a new medium. I'm just excited with the responses. Today you go to a small town in UP, Bihar, they won't recognize me from TV. They'll say, sir, aapko Neta Nagri pe dekha tha. And I'm overwhelmed by that. new young audience. We thought Indians don't watch TV news. Go and meet all the young university students in anywhere in UP and BR. They are all following Lallan Top. Why? Because Lallan Top is doing something that has struck a chord with them. It's digital. The future is digital, no doubt about it. But TV also will remain. I remember when I moved from newspaper to TV, there was a feeling, अब तो newspaper तो खत्म हो रहा है, सब TV में जा रहे हैं. Newspapers are also there. There are enough Indians to read, there are enough Indians to watch digital and to watch TV. Medium doesn't matter now. You can put it on content. If you have good content, people will consume. The challenge actually now is to provide good, exciting content for all of us. Now, what role I have to play in that, I don't know. At a certain stage in life, you just हवा के साथ साथ घटा के संग संग वो साथी चल. Whatever happens in life, you go along with it. I don't know what tomorrow brings. I really don't. For the first time in my life, last month I completed 36 years in this profession. I have taken a bit of a break only because I just want to take a deep breath. Because being in TV news is like on a moving train. और वो engine driver ब्रेक ही नहीं लगा रहा है. तो खुद कभी कभी ट्रेन से निकलना पड़ता है ताकि who knows नहीं तो derail हो जाएगी.
Hi, sir. My name is Amisha and I work with the digital team. So my question was, even after the turnout of such a dramatic election results, why do you think the voting percentage still has not been, is not that prominent, I feel?
Ma'am, but see, the voting percentage in Maharashtra went up by 6%. It was, I think, 59 last time, it went up to 65 this time, and among women it went up even more.
Yeah.
And that day I knew that Mahayuti had won. When I saw those numbers, you can check in my newsroom, I told them, ab to Mahayuti jeet gaya. Women, no election by the way can be won unless you have the woman vote in India. You go through all the elections of the last 10 years, the winning party will always have majority woman vote. Mamata Banerjee wins because of that, Nitish Kumar wins because of that, Jayalalitha used to win because of that, Shivraj Singh Chauhan won Madhya Pradesh last year. Woman vote is important. People are coming out to vote. I don't agree that you can't have you may not have 80% voting. My problem is here where we are located, Kulaba. All my friends who complain the most about Maharashtra politics don't go out and vote. वो तो weekend के लिए अलीबाग चलो. Anushka's friends all go to Alibag.
No, I voted.
No, your friends I said. I didn't say Anushka. I said Anushka's friend, but my friends complaining but go off somewhere. That's the problem. India is a strange country. Most across the world, the wealthier you are, more likely to vote. In India, it's the opposite. The poorer you are, the more likely you are to vote. The poor have some stake in the system. The rich have all seceded.
Thank you so much, Rajdeep. It was wonderful to have you in our newsroom, and I hope you will come back again after your next book or even before. And it's a wonderful book. I've started reading it.
I'm going to put it before your camera so they know how it looks.
Yes, absolutely.
I do all this. I'm learning this from Mr. Modi and all the marketeers. They know how to sell a product.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about great marketing these days. And we of course really admire your journalism and your inconvenient questions to all parties. I've noticed that. It's sad that there's such a sharp divide and people are either called BJP Bhakts or they're called, Darbari or Congressy. So I hope one day that we get over these issues and we go back to fair journalism. But thank you. Thank you for everything.
No, thank you, Anushka. I remember you asked me several months ago and I promised that I would do it with you once the book was out. So I'm delighted to be here and with your wonderful young team. Free Press is part of Mumbai's history. And, as a young person, I've grown up on newspapers. I'm a newspaper man. So at heart, that's where my heart is. If you ask me ever where my heart is, it was in the newspaper. That's what drew me to this profession. So it's wonderful to be here, part of a great Mumbai institution. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you.